People call these places farm towns, and they're not wrong. There are fields on the edge of town, grain trucks on the highway, dust in August and mud in March. You can tell what season it is without ever checking a calendar. But it's never been just farming. What gets missed are the people who leave town before sunrise and come back after dark. The ones who don't own land and don't talk about yields or markets, but keep the place running anyway. The guys who drive to Decatur, to Clinton, to plants you only notice when they shut down. Illinois Power, Staley's, John Deere. Factories with names you only learn if you work there. They punch in, they punch out. They carry things, they fix things, they load trucks, they run lines, they make sure the lights stay on and the machines don't stop. UPS drivers, plumbers, electricians, welders, maintenance guys. The men who don't talk much about what they do and don't need you to understand it as long as it gets done. Now, I should say this clearly because it matters. I'm seeing this from my lens, from where I grew up, from what I watched. And that lens put me around a lot of men and a lot of men's work. That doesn't mean this town runs without women. It never has. The nurses who worked doubles, the teachers who stayed late, the secretaries who knew everything before anyone else did, the women who worked shifts, ran machines, kept offices moving, raised families, and held things together quietly. Not women's work, just work. Real work. I'm not discounting that. I couldn't if I tried. But the story I'm telling here is about the work that rarely gets named, and the people who did it without much fuss, because that's the part I saw up close. And it mattered. In towns like this, no one asks too many questions about your job. Not because people don't care, but because it's not the point. You work, you show up, you take care of what needs to be taken care of. Money doesn't come up much. Neither does status. You know who's good with engines. You know who can fix a furnace. You know who to call when something breaks and can't wait until Monday. That's how it works. Farming is visible. It frames the place. It sits on the edges of town. But the middle of town runs on people who carry lunch pails and coffee mugs and sore shoulders home every night. People whose work disappears the moment it's done right. It's easy to romanticize farms. It's harder to notice the dignity of shift work. But places like this have always been both. Fields outside town, factories down the road, trucks on the highway, men and women doing work that doesn't need applause to be important. That's not less than farming. It's part of the same story. And if you've lived here long enough, you know it. Because towns like Maroa, like all small towns, don't run on one thing. They run on people who don't talk much about what they do and don't need you to understand it, as long as it gets done. That's Maroa too. You can also hear these stories at the Listening channel on YouTube.